Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Daniel Lawrence. Thank you for taking the time to join us, and I hope you see and hear something useful today that will help you to work more productively with Xero and possibly other systems too that you might be using in your day-to-day work. I'm joined today by our special guest speaker and the founder of Your Finance Partner, Neil Jackson. Neil, I know you're a shy and retiring chap, but would you please give us a brief introduction to the folks, who you are and what you do?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I run a small firm in Surrey, specialise in looking after small businesses and startups, looking after essentially monthly and quarterly reporting using solely Xero and Dext. And look forward to showing you a little bit more.
Excellent, thank you. In today's webinar, Neil will be sharing some of us the pain of his past experiences in multiple companies worked in and now in his own practice, having to manually produce those monthly management reports for his clients using Xero and spreadsheets, and how he's now using bots and the Xero bot that we've got to automatically handle his clients' reporting needs instead. We want this webinar to be useful and interactive for you all, so we're going to be asking a few poll questions along the way about your own experiences with reporting with Xero and spreadsheets. So please take part and submit your answers. If you haven't done so already, please go to www.menti.com and use the code 51338267. And you can take part in the live poll and the pop quiz at the end for a chance to get your financials turned into a management pack for free. So feel free to submit questions on the live chat feed, whichever channel you happen to be watching on, and we'll endeavour to answer those either at the end or as we go. My colleagues, Lawrence, are standing by and they're monitoring the live chat feeds. Give a wave, Lawrence.
Thanks, Daniel.
We'll endeavour to answer those as you go. So get in touch if you have questions or you want to chat more about what you see and hear today. And if you'd like to be part of a growing community that is now openly sharing more and more ideas and thoughts on what the future of work holds for us all, no matter what you do, not just bots, but also the broader implications for people, technology, process, customers, and much more, then please go to botsforthat.com/future of work and sign up. So, open up things today. I'd like to begin with our first poll question to get everyone warmed up. So please make sure you have the menti.com app open. And our first question today is, what are your three most common challenges or pain points when using Xero? So from the choices given, what are your three most common Xero pain points? And if you'd like a copy of the combined poll results from today after the webinar, or indeed the datasheet handout or the recording of the full webinar, please email us at hi@botsforthat.com. And I think looks like the results are all in, and it looks like the three most common pain points from everyone on the webinar today are no customizable management pack, lack of report customization, and projects, interestingly. So Neil, what are your three main pain points? What would you add or elaborate on that?
Right. Well, first and foremost, I'm a Xero certified advisor, so I'm not here to criticise Xero for any. Look, I love them. I only use Xero, and I don't talk about any of the others. But I just want to make it clear: Xero is an awesome kit, and it is really good. But there are things that it can't do for everyone. It does its core function very well. So my top three. Now I've put that disclaimer out. Is number one's reporting. Number two's reporting, and number three's really sales invoicing and essentially the pain around getting sales or CRM information into Xero. So just to elaborate a little bit on my number one reporting, it seems pretty in line with the poll results, but that's really just about the formatting side of reporting. There are some great reports, but they all one size doesn't fit all for every client. We know that, but there still needs a lot of formatting, even on the most polished Xero report. And they'll admit that too. So that's a given. My second reporting point is actually about the time it takes to pull the reports. So, again, I'm not talking about broadband speed. I'm not talking about Xero not performing. I'm just talking about the 30 seconds to a minute that it takes to pull one report. And if that's 10 reports, then, it soon scales up. And the last one was really about the CRM. I certainly look after a lot of small businesses. Small businesses tend to have an app or a CRM solution that helps them manage their workflow, their job card, call it what you like. But either way, it's very rare that it links into Xero. So that presents a problem that you either have to duplicate the effort and create this invoice in Xero manually, which is hideous. But that's the way it is 9 times out of 10. And that opens the door to make my job harder. And that is, it introduces human error. Yeah. It can, obviously, it's a duplication of effort, so it's a bit of a waste of resource. And actually, finally, it just delays things. It can delay the cash coming into the business. Yeah. And it can also sort of, undermine your credibility in front of your client. If it takes you, and a lot of tradesmen, I hate to say it, do take multiple weeks to get the invoice out, even though they've done an exceptional job of the work. It takes them 4 weeks to get the invoice out because their wife does it on a Friday afternoon, or they do it in the evenings. So yeah, having a solution there that links something to Xero, and not all of us can afford or have the intelligence to write an API to do that. Great. So for me, they're my top 3. But yeah, reporting is a biggie. Brilliant.
It's interesting because when I've talked to other Xero users before about their general work pain points and frustrations, it's not something that's unique to the system, because it's a complaint they have with no matter what systems they use. And I get very consistent answers no matter what system user I'm actually talking to. It's very, very, very consistent sort of thing.
It's nothing new either. It's been going on for years.
It's not. And I guess the top 3 that surface all the time when I speak to people, it's always based around reporting. It usually always involves a data integration and import of some type. Yeah. And they're always also about app gaps. Apps are obviously becoming more and more common now. And that but those 3 pretty much cover everything from getting the data in, reporting it out, and then figuring out which apps you're going to use to get the best out of what you do. And all of that seems to cause quite a lot of manual work and effort for users. But it's not really anything new. I guess prior to COVID, I remember reading a piece of research that Accountancy Age did. And they reported that accountants, and probably some people will probably say it's probably twice that, but accountants apparently spending 25% longer at work than the average employee. Other research I've read suggests that we probably spend somewhere in the region of 22 years of our lives online, and most of that, unfortunately, it's not doing the Netflix and the series and stuff like that. It's a big chunk of that is going on those boring, repetitive, mundane tasks. And so bots potentially could be a big part of the future of our work, which helps us to reduce the time we spend, change that outlook, and provide a better way for us to work and eliminate maybe some of those 22 years, or at least enable us to spend them more productively. So reporting is, not surprisingly, as you said as well, the most common pain point. After all, the whole point is to report, review, and interpret the results, not spend the time making them. Nearly all reporting begins with running and downloading various reports from a system, and all other systems using spreadsheets or having to construct and update a management pack, whether it's starting it from scratch or updating it, and whether it's analysis, forecasts, budgets, and comparisons, all of those types of things. Data integration or imports are also very common from what I've heard, and very important. One very good example actually is project accounting. And although I know recently Xero introduced their own system for this, there are, of course, other systems out there that people are already using, and they're very unlikely to switch from it. And you've got Juras and other ones out there. Admittedly, I'm one of them. And that's one of the advantages of bots, is it allows you to stay on the systems you've got rather than have to switch.
Use Xero, can you? Anyway,
we'll get to that. And there are things that I simply couldn't integrate with Xero or any other system with just an app. The thing is, you may find an app that does have a native connection, but it doesn't necessarily always do what you want, so you always end up having to resort to some sort of manual workaround. And you've talked about this as well. And again, that consumes time. It takes away from quality. It introduces error. So rather than ending up with an elegant solution that saves time and gives you a better outcome, you end up with that instead. And what we're finding is that a bot can pretty much handle anything in terms of data integrations, both directions, to and from any system, so it's multi-directional. But as for apps, because I mentioned app gaps, and you did too, I think there's, last count, somewhere around 800 on the Xero App Store, and if you look at most SaaS systems, there's hundreds, if not thousands, in there too. And sometimes they work well, sometimes they don't. They can sometimes be expensive, but what they all have in common is they often still leave a gap of some sort. There's something they don't do. So it's a major drawback for apps and stuff that they're also reliant on APIs, which also don't exist in every system, and they don't do everything we always need. So one of the major complaints I do hear from users in general about apps is app fatigue. You end up with so many apps, or the risk is you end up with so many apps, so you need another app just to manage them. So and if any one of those things breaks, it breaks your whole ecosystem. You end up with another manual workaround and another gap, and then you have to fix that. So what's your experience been in that?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, can you just explain what an app gap is vis-a-vis an integration? Because I kind of keep hearing conversations that seem to interchange the two, and I'm not quite clear on it. And then I can answer your question. Sorry.
So for me, an app gap is where there is an app already,
okay,
but it only does a limited amount of the things you really need it to do. Whereas if there's no app at all, you're having to build some sort of integration. You have to create something, whether it's importing a spreadsheet or a CSV or something else, or building.
API, for example.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Well, back to so my experience really is obviously I look after sub-million turnover businesses, normally own and manage businesses, and they use many. They're in multiple industries, and they have their own tool. It's normally an app off the shelf. If they're a tradesman, it'll be My Builder. There's many other basically workflow management tools that again have all the information that a CRM would have. But again, all the information is there to create a sales invoice, for example, or to code a timesheet into a project within Xero. So all the information's there, and it just frustrates the living daylights out of me that that information has to essentially be rekeyed. It's actually not that often that you can get in the back door of that app and pull the information out and import them. So whether it's a bespoke kind of app tool that helps them manage their workflow, or whether it's an access time management system, there's these workarounds are, it just means we're always in Excel, which I love. Don't get me wrong, I'm an accountant. It's my favorite sandbox, but it can introduce error. It can take a lot of time. And apps seem to do one job well, and they kind of clearly have their boundaries, and that's where these gaps exist, and that's where I tend to spend quite a lot of time in getting that into Xero, and without a shadow of a doubt, we can't all afford to recruit a developer or hire a developer even on his day rate to write a little API for us. So guess what? The bookkeeping or the management, the accountant ends up kind of getting a manual workaround, which is totally achievable, but it's not best use of time.
No, it doesn't give you also the flexibility as well. So as the needs of the business change, they scale, they grow.
Yeah.
You can't adapt quickly enough.
No.
Sometimes,
and for me, it's, accounting should be about real-time reporting. Yeah. And that dilutes that massively. So
yeah, great. So one way to potentially resolve these pain points that you may not have considered or explored yet is bots and automation, which are fast, they're scalable, they're powerful, they're fairly flexible, and they can also be lower cost. Everything that traditional programming and possibly the third-party apps approach may not be, and also definitely a better approach than just doing the work manually. So what we do very simply, just very quickly at Bots for That, is we make all kinds of work, less work with our hosted automation bots, what we call bots as a service, to take on all those boring manual tasks so that people no longer have to. One of our bots can handle roughly the equivalent workload of roughly 3 to 4 people on average. So they can save you time and boost productivity of your people and your business. And more forward-thinking businesses like Neil's are using bots to work smarter instead of harder and free up that time for more valuable work, or simply to improve margins, improve the work-life balance. I know there's things you'd rather be doing than sitting down working through spreadsheets, and things like the 4-day week that's currently on test in the country with 70 companies. If that leads on to a broader implementation of 4-day weeks, here's another alternative that might enable us to embrace it. In this webinar anyway, Neil and I are going to share with you how he and other businesses are now using bots to work smarter instead of harder on their management reporting specifically, and to eliminate the manual pain of doing that. So anyway, let's take a minute. I just want to tell you a little bit about bots themselves, how they work, and without getting too technical. Bots are digital. They exist only in a virtual sense. They're not physical. You can't touch or see them. You can't, most cases, really even watch a bot performing its work, because most of the time it either moves too fast for the eye to see, or they work invisibly in the background and there's actually nothing to see. So bots are what we call non-invasive because they don't need to be integrated into your systems to work on them. They, much like a new employee, would be onboarded and access your systems in either a user interface, an application interface, or a custom integration. So bots can be used to not only eliminate the most common pain points, but to eliminate lots of other manual work that you might not have thought about, especially where there's no suitable add-on or app, or at least an app that does everything that you need it to. And bots can also be used to overcome those app gaps that you come up against and maybe replace the app instead. So Neil, have you got any other manual activities in your experience that you've thought about? We've been working together for a little bit now, but maybe connecting up more of those systems. You mentioned the sales one already, or any other systems that potentially we could use bots for?
I mean, I mentioned it in passing earlier. Timesheets. A lot of people have timesheet systems that are the way they manage their people. That getting that into a payroll system as an example. It could be any provider, but again, that's something that it's very sensitive for a start. It needs to be accurate, and when you do let a human do that, sometimes things do go wrong. Project costing within Xero as well, and there's just anything that a human can do. What I've learned, a bot can do, and I just think that's pretty powerful stuff. So this session's about reporting, but these guys have kind of shown me the light that it's not just about reporting. It can do pretty much what you tell it to, and any repetitive task that isn't arguably non-value adding, that's something that could be on your bot list. So but certainly those couple of examples are the ones that jump to mind.
Oh, great stuff. So I think actually it's time for another couple of poll questions, and the first one I'd like to ask is how many different Xero reports are in your management pack or management reports. Choices are on the screen. I think it's 3 or fewer, 4 to 6 or 7 or more. So think about all the reports you download from Xero to include in your own packs: the profit and loss, the trial balance sheet, debtors and creditors, ledgers, banks, anything at all really. Add them all up and give it the answer that best meets one of the choices on the poll. Still running? Finished? All good? Oh, results are in. That was quick. If you do it, once again, I'll just mention if anyone does want a copy of all of the poll results at the end of this, email us at hi@botsforthat.com. And it looks like, it's changing again. Okay, so it looks like the results are 4 to 6, seems to be the most common at the moment, but a quarter with 7 or more. How does that resonate with your experience, Neil?
I'm a little bit surprised, actually. I thought it would be the right-hand side. I certainly have... obviously, I've standardised my reports. I tend to try and keep things, but there are clients that are at one end of the financial awareness scale and at the other end. So, sometimes making it colourful, anyway, without being too facetious about it, being able to talk the client through the numbers and guide them through what they actually mean is really important. So actually, I was certainly at the right-hand side. I was 7 or more. And that's not per client, that's obviously multiple clients. So my experience is that a lot of different clients need a lot of different things. You can try and standardize it, but you will always need to tailor it somewhat to make sure that the conversation and the advisory that you give your clients is targeted, and that can change throughout the year. At the end of the year, after 12 months, certainly at month 10 and 11, the conversation's much more about tax planning, whereas the first couple of months of the year will be much more about the plans for the year and the pricing. So I think it's really important that we can provide the right report for the right conversation. So I'm certainly at the 7 or more end, rightly or wrongly.
Which is why it's been useful for you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm so excited about it.
So let's do a quick check. I'll just go over to Lawrence on the live chat feeds. Is there anything coming in, Lawrence, that we need to address?
Yes, a couple of questions rolling in. So I'll start with the first one. So we've got, can bots access reports from other systems as well as Xero? And can they access any of the reports in Xero and Finance App Store apps?
The short answer is yes, yes, and yes. Yes, definitely. And in both directions. So multi-directionally, you can go into Xero, out of Xero, and other systems back and forth which you don't always get with apps. You can generally go one directional with APIs, and it doesn't allow you to necessarily go both.
Or it's read only.
Exactly. So yes, the short answer is yes to all of those, effectively. Okay, thank you.
Can I just jump in there, because I think this is something that I wrestled with initially. What is a bot? What access am I giving? So the way I've understood it, and I think it's worth verbalising, is that if you think of the bot as actually one of your team, it sounds a ridiculous statement when Daniel said they're not real, they don't do this, and they don't need holidays and all that. But the reality is the way I've got my head around it is they're just like another member of your team. They can log into a system that you give them rights to. They can extract reports out of that team. They can work on it. It's completely within your own environment, and the reports are published in a secure fashion. So and you can define those parameters. So it really is like telling a new member of the team, this is what you've got to do, and this is how you do it, and this is when you do it. And that's kind of helped me kind of absorb what a bot is, because otherwise it's the same as the paraphrase in the cloud. I don't quite know what it means, but I do. So yeah, I just wanted to jump that in, just because hopefully that kind of helps people get their head around it.
Give a spoiler for later on, but you can humanize your bots too with naming, which we'll get to a bit later.
Absolutely. What a good idea.
And the second question, before we move on, I'd like to ask is, how long on average does it take you to create a full customized management reporting pack for one of your clients? So count the time from logging in, downloading the reports, saving them somewhere, put them into a formatting spreadsheet, doing customization and changing stuff. So choice on screen now, we've got 15 minutes or less, 15 to 30, or more than 60. Again, if you'd like a copy of all this at the end of the day, or data sheet or recording, email us at hi@botsforthat.com. Is that one open, Lawrence?
Mm-hmm. Should be on.
There you go.
Must be start coming in now.
Small delay. Wow. Okay. Okay. That was an initial surprise.
Here, so yeah. Oh, okay.
We're watching them. It went up to instantly to 100% on more than 60, and then it started changing. Okay.
Like watching the local election result. There.
It is.
Right. Anyway.
Is that finished? Is it closed? It's still running.
Should have a few more to come.
Okay, no problem. We'll just give it a few more seconds. Okay. That's a fairly still. Was it what you were expecting? Does it correlate with yours as well?
Yeah, it doesn't contradict my view, which is good. Otherwise, I'm clearly the wrong guy to be standing here. Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm in the 15 to 30 minute slot. I may or may not be. I don't only use reporting. It's just updated actually. So yeah. That makes, I'm completely aligned with that.
Obviously, you've got some fans out there. You're an influencer. That's what it is.
No, don't. So, yeah, I not only use my management pack for reporting, I also use it as a reviewing tool. So, the same pack, and we will come onto it in the demo, is created for me to review my team's work, and we review each other's work. So, essentially, it's not just like one client, one report for monthly reporting. Or I run this report 2 or 3 times. So, 2 or 3 times per client at 25, 30 minutes, it soon scales up, and that's kind of why I'm really excited about it. And I genuinely do think that this bot solution is really quite an exciting thing, especially given that I've recently recruited someone, and it was quite a long journey. There's not a lot of resource out there. So for me, it's a great way of getting resource into the business without necessarily changing your retraining them either,
and trying to retain them. And it's getting harder and harder to find and retain the right people now.
Indeed, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great stuff. Okay, anything else on the live chat just around that poll, or we'll move on if not?
We've got another question rolled through on the live chat.
Okay.
So, question. I know you're talking about Xero, but can these bots work with QuickBooks?
I can't answer that because I don't like that word. Anyway, Daniel?
Yes, Neil. Technically, yes, they can work with any popular ERP or accounting program, an application or SaaS program. We do specialize a lot with Xero. It is, I think, the leading package at the moment. It is of the now. And so, yes, the short answer is it will. So, Neil, I think it's time we showed everyone your bot report. So, just to set the scene, maybe for everyone, just describe how your management reporting pack is created or was created manually, the issues and the time and challenges that presented for you.
Yeah, of course. So it's quite a simple process. I'm sure quite a lot of the audience, essentially from the review side of things, a trial balance is pulled from Xero, and supporting tabs are inserted in the pack. So until a couple of months ago, it was pull one report, put it in a Xero report. Sorry, pull one Xero report and put it in an Excel file. Say for example, fixed assets, and then a trade debtors, then a bank rec, then trade creditors, and accruals and prepayments. And that, that is the supporting information that me as a reviewer wants to see to check that my team has done their job in terms of making sure the balance sheet's clean. So that's with my kind of like review hat on, and the management reporting. Obviously, it's a P&L, a balance sheet, and if the client is receptive to cash flow conversations, then it would be in there. I'll be honest with you, it's not normally the main feature. So it's a P&L, balance sheet, trial balance, and the supporting tabs to the balance sheet. So that used to take me in the region 20 minutes on a good day, 25 minutes. It has come down a little bit. Xero have just released a management pack. They announced it. It had been out for a few months before, but now instead of pulling one report and actually consolidating it in a pack, there's actually management reports in the advisory section of their reporting. And yeah, as I say, they announced it at XeroCon, and it's just a one pull now. So you put your parameters in, and you get a report that you can actually customize, and you can have your P&L, balance sheet, and all the tabs you want. But it's a one pull rather than a 7 pull and then pulling it together.
That's still per client.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. You can do the same across all clients if you go into Xero HQ. But either way, we're still talking. That doesn't overcome the formatting, and the formatting is the heavy lifting that I wanted and have now. Basically, got a solution for.
Yeah, and as you said, depending on how sophisticated your partner, big the business, that might include budget analysis, forecast analysis,
absolutely,
comparisons, a whole lot more. You can have 20 sheets in there, right? More. So.
Yeah, if you've got clients that actually have a business plan, which some do, some don't. I can't say it's a regular feature with my lot, but yeah, Xero again can cope with budgets now, and it can do variance reporting against it. It needs formatting. We're back to that old same chestnut, and I have spoken to Xero about it, and they, one size doesn't fit all. That they can't design a report that will keep everyone happy. So there's always going to be this formatting requirement, is my honest opinion. And I think for practices that are a lot bigger than me, for clients that are a lot bigger than my clients, they're going to want to see different things at different times. So yeah, I just see that reporting is always going to be heavy lifting, while we need to tailor our reporting to our clients.
Yeah. So that was the old world for you.
Yeah.
In terms of management, it's time to see the new. So what I'll ask is Lawrence to present the bot center on screen so everyone can see, and see. We're going to go through how this works. So I'm going to hand over to Neil. Hopefully we won't do fall victim to the demo gremlins, and hopefully this will just all work smoothly.
That's fine.
If it doesn't, I apologize.
Yeah. So, welcome to my new toy. It's awesome. But essentially, just to help you get your eye in, this sits between Xero and kind of you. So, it's like a person. It logs into Xero, it pulls the information out, and you'll see that the steps 1 to 4 across the top, it's not dissimilar to, what you do within the Xero environment. So first of all, you select your company. So on the top, on the first button, you can certainly see all companies. So if you wanted to schedule a report for all companies, I don't know, on working day 10, and your team could, you could divide and conquer, and everyone can start working on it separately. That ability is there, and obviously you can specify the client that you need. And in this instance, for this demo, we're certainly going to specify, and it's going to be a young dynamic practice called your digital finance partner, which is awesome. So moving along to step 2. So we've got sort of a bespoke report solution, which is something that you can create. You can actively design a pack in the Xero environment, and essentially it will get spat out. The standard reporting, just to sort of dwell on that, that is the one-by-one pull, if you like, the way that I used to do it in the old world. Pull one trade debtor report at a certain date, pull one balance sheet at a certain date, and so on. So I think we're going to go into the bespoke.
If you just click on on standard report, if you just click on you'll see you can select. So you can pick as many of those as you like or don't like.
So this is the way I used to do it in Xero. So this dials straight into your reports in Xero.
So it maps in straightly, and then you've got your layout on there too. So you may just have a standard output from Xero exactly as it comes out, or you may have, for example, an industry template. So if you've got clients in different industries and you want a different standard template for each industry, you can define those in the extra as a custom, and then run them, and you get exactly what you need without having to do any of that manual work yourself.
KPIs, I guess. And the only other thing, and it would have excited me until I saw the bot, but you could combine reports. For example, you could highlight the 10 tabs of all the tabs that I've gone through in the list, actually, and then you can combine them in one Excel file with different tabs. It just so happens that Xero has actually beaten us to it on that, because their management pack does exactly that now. But anyway, we're going to go down the bespoke solution. This is a management pack that I use day in, day out. It is exactly what I've described in my old world, but it's automated. So select the parameters now. So, not a huge shock that we're talking about dates. So this will be current quarter. We're in July. So I would want conversations with my clients about the last 3 months, which is the first 3 months of the calendar year. So it's the 1st of April through to the 30th of June this year, obviously. And the comparatives. So, I'd like to, probably, as we're talking about quarterly, I'd probably like to look at least 4 or 5 quarters so I can compare, the quarter last year. I don't know whether the business we're talking about here is seasonal or not, but either way, you should certainly have a year's worth of quarters. So there's a tick box in there called cash transactions only. To be fair, I don't use it. I really am an advocate of accrual accounting. My clients are short, maybe quite small. Some of them are as small as 100k turnover, but I still don't really advocate cash accounting really when you're paying for a bookkeeping service and a sexy bot. Cash isn't king where this is concerned. So if we can move on to step 4, now we're talking about the output. So essentially, that you've done your parameters. Now, how do I want to receive it? So you can get that emailed to you or delivered into various locations, so SharePoint or Center. So I'm going to be the email. So actually, I manage my workflow quite a lot through my email. So I'd be emailing that to myself, or if one of my team, Gemma, I'd email it to her, or the bot would email it to her, more importantly, and then that would fall into her workflow.
It could also go directly to your client too.
Yeah, absolutely.
When obviously multiple, you could also do comma separate, and then you can have multiple addresses in there too.
It's a good point. For me, I always would quite like to see the output, and the only reason why I say that is just purely and simply because I use the tool for draft, review, and then publish. So but I totally take the point that when it's done, it could be sent out directly. Brilliant. Right. So. And that's it. So I don't know how long that took. I was talking too much, clearly, but that was, I don't know, that's 20 seconds of clicks, isn't it? I think something like that. Yeah. So that's the work I've done to produce a management pack so far. So now we're
going to open up the
Lawrence work is magic.
There we go, sorry. Technical issues.
It's all right. It's Friday afternoon. And the thing I like about it is essentially you could schedule these things to happen in dead time.
Yeah.
And that again, I genuinely think that it takes me 5 minutes just to run the Xero reports before I actually start running the formatting. So Yeah.
Okay.
All right, how are we doing?
One more second, sorry.
So when I run it, and I'm not having a go at Lawrence here at all, when I run it, it takes about 2 minutes for it to run. So, you know, that's 2 minutes versus sort of 25 minutes in my old world. It's there ready and waiting for me to review, check that the adjustments that I've made in Xero have flowed through and that the output's ready. So yeah, already I'm gaining between 20 and 25 minutes per client.
Okay.
We good?
We're not seeing anything on screen.
There we are. Right. Okay. Made us sweat on it a bit there. It's not fair. Right. So yeah, just to really talk about the report. Really, you know, as I've sort of explained, you know, it's a P&L, it's a balance sheet, it's a trial balance. The numbers are irrelevant. It is actually my own business's actual results. So don't start throwing mud at it. But yeah, the point I'm making is you know, there's a trial balance there, and everything to the right, the aged debtors, the bank rec, and the aged creditors are the controls that I expect to see in a management pack, especially when I'm reviewing. And then once that controllership side of things is done, then I'll go to the left and the P&L. If you just, there you go. And obviously the balance sheet as well. So you've got, however much you define, you've got the pre-formatted template there that you can run and rerun once the numbers have stopped moving. So, you know, that for me, that's really important. It saved me 25 minutes. I can actually get cracking on this straight away and actually start adding value rather than 20 minutes worth of formatting. So, you know, it's something I'm quite excited about. It's a game changer for me. You know, I've had it about 6 weeks, to be honest with you. So, you know, I'm still at the, you know, kid with a new toy sort of phase, but already it's definitely saving me. I'm going to say 3 or 4 hours a week, depending on what time in the month. You know, the first week of next month is really when I'm going to start leveraging it. And I'd really hope to save myself a day or two, and certainly my team would, you know, there'll be some time savings there as well. But anyway, look, a polished, finished article in minutes, probably about 4 minutes, but you know, I'll do it in 2.
Any format. So if you've got your own formats already, it'll be in that format in the way you want it. And arguably, back to the question earlier about does it interact with other systems, and same point you have about sales integrations and projects. There could be another 4 tabs on there that have the sales tabs coming in from HubSpot or Salesforce, so you can prove your invoicing in there versus what you've got in Xero. You could do something with HR reporting. If you've got HR stuff and headcount, you could compare that to this. You could pull another 5 tabs that sort of underlie all the numbers for some sanity checks.
There's lots of control points that you know, that you could refer to within the pack, and you could ask the bot, you know, if that number equals that number, then we're good, and you know, and it could perhaps flag it. I don't know, or not.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, thanks, Lawrence.
Stuff. So that was the demo. So I think we've a couple final questions for today on the polls. First of which is, I'd like to ask, how many different types of layouts of pack do you have to create? So how many different packs do you have to make in your practice? Think about all the different or unique things that each client wants, or maybe that they or you would like to have, but you can't do because you mostly don't have the time or resources for the effort that's involved. Choices on screen now. You've got 2 or fewer, 3 to 5, 6 to 9, 10 or more. And of course, these things are all drivers for time taken. You've got, you know, the number of clients, the number of times you have to run it per client, and then the number of different ones you have to produce and put that into Excel. So looks like at the moment it's 50-50 between 3 to 5 and 10 or more. We'll keep watching.
Votes. Let's let a few more roll in.
Okay.
And again, you know, for me, I'd be on the right-hand side. You know, one size doesn't fit all. And for you know, people operate in different spaces. People have seasonal businesses. People have different skills. You know, there's just a plethora of reasons why you can't just have the same pack for everyone. I wish, but life's not like that. And certainly not at the small end of the practice life, where I reside.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. And maybe just a quick check on live chat. Any feed anything to cover off?
Yeah, we've got one. So we can say, is it possible to book a demo of the Xero bot on my own system?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
Excellent.
and in fact, whoever wins the pop quiz at the end gets exactly that.
There's a carrot. Pay attention.
No sticks though. And for the last poll question today is how are most of your management reports delivered? So either email, a file server location, or to an app. And that might be via a data entry or an import or something else. So I'll just see how that one falls in. We deliberately left off, I know you mentioned it, but we deliberately left off physical paper reports. But if anyone does do this, then again, maybe mention it in the chat. It'd be nice to know a sense of if anyone like yourself is having to deal still with paperwork.
Well, while we're sort of waiting, I don't necessarily publish reports to 50% of my clients because actually I'd like to go through them with a piece of paper in front of them. Otherwise, one, it either scares them, two, it makes them feel nauseous, or three, it gets deleted. So for me, I still use probably 50-50. Paper being, basically the conversation tool, which is the partnering bit, which is what I really strongly believe adds value. And then I'd publish via email. But anyway, I'll shut up. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Cool. Great stuff. Okay.
So the result, we haven't really touched on, but yeah.
75% email. Yeah. And 25% on servers.
Okay.
Interesting stuff. Okay. So what we got next? A little bit about the bot membership. So if you keep scrolling up to. So the demo you saw today uses one of our bot recipes from the Xero bot pack. It's the Xero reporting bot. It's a hosted bot as a service. It automatically sort of handles those reporting tasks, but many other everyday tasks and activities that you do in Xero. It can handle lots of different jobs. I think I saw a question there in the live feed about journals and calculating journals. And yes, it can do that as well. We actually have some clients already using some of our bots to manage bot journals straight into Xero or other systems. The Xero reporting bot that you saw with Neil automatically downloads the reports from Xero and creates a consolidated management reporting pack along with that, and it reports some data from other systems, other source systems as well. There's the option for standard or fully customized report templates, but the bot downloads formats. It can do sanity checks, tolerances, and basically give you sort of indications and flags as to where things might be based on what you're expecting. So you can use it for those purposes as well. So we're coming near to the end of the webinar now. But before we finish, I know Neil is keen to share his own top 3 incredible bots as a founder and practitioner who's close to numbers of his clients' businesses. There are 3 Xero bots that Neil uses regularly to save time and avoid anyone in his team having to do these manually. I should also mention quickly that all of our bot recipes are not just for Xero, are mostly predefined bots that are built for a specific purpose or task, but can be customized and deployed very quickly so you can start work straight away and eliminate that manual work. So Neil, I'm going to hand it over to you.
I'm just checking that the camera's still working.
Reverse order.
I'm not sure.
Oh, I think we've got a technical issue with the camera, which we're just resolving. Should we keep going? Keep talking.
Okay, right. Well, in which case, my top 3. So I've already been a bit gushing already so far. They're incredible. I think they're awesome. So it made perfect sense to me to name them after sort of the incredible family from Pixar. So Jack. So small and wicked, I guess. So he pulls information from the CRM solution into Xero for automated invoicing. For me, that's something that I haven't started leveraging yet for my clients. I think it's a big one though, because it's quite heavy lifting when it comes to it's very time heavy basically. So a bot that can dial into a CRM solution or a workflow management tool, suck the information out, whether that be in Excel, and then work some magic on it and push it into an uploadable basically CSV file that goes into Xero. That would work well. But so Jack's number 2.
We actually use that one in our own business. We use HubSpot, so we take closed won deals from HubSpot and then straight into the accounting system, invoices out.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense because it is quite it's quite labour intensive.
Yeah.
So my incredible number 2 is Edna. She creates bespoke solutions. Yeah, she hasn't got a suit as good as the rest of them, but she's a really interesting one. And for me, it's kind of like the step on from the standard management reporting pack. So this is something that could be a lot more bespoke. So although this bot hasn't actually come to fruition yet, but for me it's on my I'd like it soon. And it would be about interacting with the client, finding out exactly what they want, not necessarily from a numbers point of view. It could be a KPI thing, but creating a bespoke reporting solution for the client. And I think the powerful bit for me here is that this could be a dashboard. This could be, if you can get the information out of Xero into, using a bot, the bot could work its magic, build a dashboard and publish that dashboard either directly to the client or, and that could be an interactive report. So rather than having a plethora of different tabs, they may wish to flex it. It would be great to stand up in front of my client or when I meet them and be able to sort of flex it real time. So I think that's pretty sexy as well.
That's something our bots have done. So they can create an interactive or dynamic dashboard in Excel that has spinners and all sorts of stuff. So you can have real time, flexible reporting.
And there's a lot of apps that were XeroCon, for example.
Yeah.
That was their USP. So that's something that perhaps might.
And so I'm just noticing a question come through on the feed as well. I think it's Jason Matthew Mammon. So welcome. Good afternoon, Jason. Does JackJack work literally with any CRM? Is it only invoicing, or can it also push supplier, customer info, POs, etc.? The answer to all of that brilliant question is yes. It can work with any CRM system. We obviously connect with the UI or the user interface and the application interface or custom ones. It can do invoicing. It can do supplier, customer information. So if you created a brand new customer in your CRM system, you can automatically feed that straight into Xero. And you can do the same thing with POs. So if you have business customers who are PO only business and you have to have PO in order to invoice, that can be a flag that's in your CRM system that can carry over into Xero and then put a flag in there to say, well, you've got to put something together. So thank you for that one, Jason.
I'm glad you answered that because I'm not using JackJack, so I don't really know, but I can see it being a real time saver.
Okay, and then
so finally onto Dash. So Dash. It does what it says on the tin. We've been talking about Dash. I know Daniel calls it something different, but it is the Xero reporting bot in short. For me, it's kind of the exciting one. It's the one where I know that this gives me extra time to actually do the value added stuff. I've called it Dash mainly because it's blinking quick. And essentially, Dash, he gets there before he's left. So, the report arrives in front of you before you've asked for it. And that for me is huge. It's something that can remove the repetitive, non-value added stuff that I probably spend, it's got to be 2 or 3 days a month on. And that's each member of my team. So, I'm sure you can see what positive impacts, Dash could have on your business. And obviously, the suit just adds value, doesn't it? I mean, he looks awesome. But yeah.
And you also had
there's a couple of others. I forgot about Violet and Humph. So these are a little bit blue sky-y, so they don't exist, I'll be honest. But yeah, essentially, Violet really is to automate the payroll function. There's lots of different payroll functions out there. Essentially, they're driven by timesheets. Again, there's an app gap. There's a lot of people manage their people within a workflow tool, not a payroll system, and somehow it needs to get from there to there. So I think Violet could solve that. Humph, well, in The Incredibles, he was a bit of a grumpy one, and he was quite prudent with his spending. So this is about accounts payable, essentially. This is just pulling an aged creditors report, looking at the due dates of invoices, preparing a payment batch, and then presenting it to someone to approve, and then actually creating a file that would work with the bank to actually instigate the pay, whether that's the bank or whether that's Wise or whatever payment solution you use. You know, the robot, just keep thinking the bot is another part of your team, so it could automate something like that, which I know doing bank payment runs is also quite laborious, more for the management than my team, because I tend not to do that for my clients.
There's a lot more. We've almost got straight through automated accounts payable with bots now. So I mean, there's an awful lot more we can do than just that.
Wow. Okay.
On the payroll one side, that's an interesting one, because there are so many systems, and I guess you could easily say, well, why don't you just put BrightPay in there and just connect it up, and you never have to worry about it. But we've got clients who are in that situation. They may have 3,000 people on there, and they don't want to go to another system. They know the system they've got. It's familiar, all the data, the legacy, everything is there. They don't want the hassle of having to go through an integration or a migration to a brand new system.
I agree.
And what we've said is, not a problem. Keep your systems, put a bot in, do the work, eliminate the manual work, and you can keep everything as you are. So if you like spreadsheets, if you like your Access database, keep them all. Familiar with you, confidence, keep them, let the bot do the manual work instead, and free up the work there.
And I think that's something that's probably just worth sort of calling out, if it hasn't been made clear already, is that, you know, when these guys built Dash or my bot, you know, they basically got authority to access Xero. They've got, obviously, you know, you're saving it in my environment. I think I said it earlier in the conversation, but it is another member of my team. And I didn't need to learn anything new. You know, you guys did all the learning, to be fair. So it was quite seamless, to be honest.
Cool. Okay. So to summarise, there are many ways you can solve users' pain points in systems like Xero and others, with integration and reporting, and the latest of which may possibly now be for you bots. We've looked at how this works in real life with the example with Neil and his business today around his importing. And I guess more traditional alternatives, you could always throw people at the problem if you can afford or find them or retain them. You could always build an integration using available APIs or apps and programmers, if that gives you basically what you need at a price you think is good value. Or you could potentially give bots a go, or at least take a look, because they are quick, they are very cost effective, and they're customizable. So because our bots are built and hosted for you, there's no work for you to do. As Neil was saying there, we create and maintain them for you. It removes a lot of that work. So if you've seen something today that's intrigued you, want to find out more, email us at hi@botsforthat.com. I'd love to talk to you. And remember, there's a link to a free handout. And if you want to see a demo of the Xero bot working for yourself, get in touch. And I think that's, unless there's any final questions come through on the live chat that we haven't answered. Lawrence is shaking his head. I think we're good. So I think all remains is to Neil, thank you very much for being our special guest.
No, it was
today.
A pleasure. I really enjoyed it.
It's been a real pleasure for us having you here today. And finally, anyone who stayed on till the very end, it's time for the pop quiz. So that should be popping up on your screens now. And this is for a chance to get your management pack built and developed for you. So Lawrence, over to you.
Thank you very much. So login details should be on your screen, everyone. Scan the QR code, go to www.menti.com and use the code on screen. And hopefully everyone's in there already. So question 1 of 5, can see some players joining in. Just going to give it a couple more seconds. 3 of you in so far. And we'll go ahead. So is it possible for you to adjust the parameters that the bot uses without changing the design of the bot? Yes or no?
Were you paying attention?
5 seconds, guys. Get those answers in.
Okay.
Okay. So
No wrong answers.
Everyone got that one. Good job. Question 2 of 5. Which of these is a way that the bots can't use to access systems? Oh, I think there's an issue with that question.
I was just thinking, I don't know the answer to that one either.
Let's go on to question 3 instead.
We'll scrap that one.
Bit cryptic, that one. Okay, can Xero bot produce management packs with multiple tabs? Again, yes or no? 4 answers in 5, 6, 5 seconds left. Results are in 5 yes, 2 no. The answer was obviously yes.
Absolutely. And they're formatted. Did I mention that?
I think you did.
Good.
So next question, guys. What was the incredible name Neil gave to his Xero reporting bot? Dash, Edna, or Frozone?
Oh, we didn't come up with a Frozone bot yet.
All answers in pretty quickly. 5 for Dash, 2 for Edna, and it was Dash.
I thought Lionheart, but I just couldn't think of one.
All right, so last question. On your screen now. What was Neil's #1 choice in his incredible top 3 bots for Xero list? Virtual DJ bot,
What is that guy doing?
Xero reporting bot, or a productivity bot?
He must be the DJ, I guess.
Yeah. Answers are in. It was, of course, Xero reporting bot. Congrats to the 5 people who got that one right.
See the leaderboard. Tanya
has edged the lead there
look at
over
that.
Puggy.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations, Tanya. Tanya, we will be in touch today to arrange a time with you for your free management bot, your own dashbot, effectively, right? Let's call it dashbot. You might love at this point. So I've noticed a few other chats coming on the live feed. If we haven't answered them all, we'll check them all at the end of the webinar. If there's anything we haven't answered, we will contact you via LinkedIn to give you answers to stuff that we haven't been able to get through. So that's everything for today. Neil, again, thank you very much for coming in today. Lawrence, thank you. And that's it. See you all next time.